crystal skulls are real, folks, okay? But actually, telling you this, there was Dan Aykroyd on an interview with Joe Rogan, and he mentioned about the crystal skulls. He could have done with reading this article, a very clear article from the British Museum. And basically, in this article, it goes right through a whole bunch of things, including where it was probably sourced from, and the sourcing probably came from Madagascar. And the people who were getting it was, of course, as part of the French colonial empire, were the French, who would then carve it in France. And there was one artist in France who carved things, including a crystal skull, which you couldn't sell in France to the museums because they were like, yeah, it is not good, it is not good, it is not good enough art. This is something merely carved, it is an emulation. Where is the creativity and casual racism? But no, he tried to sell it then in Mexico, right? Does this sound familiar? Tried to sell it in Mexico, okay. Didn't go too well. Eventually it got sold to the people at Tiffany & Co. in New York, the jewellers. It's like, pretty awesome, interesting piece, right? And then the British Museum brought it. You know, this wonderful piece of historical art. A nicely carved crystal skull made in the late 19th century and purchased by the British Museum around the turn of the century, something like that. Whatever the case would be, I can't remember the dates. But in any case, yeah, the claims about it, the remarkable claims made in many books, are not factually complete. This one does reference other crystal skulls around the world, and I think the British Museum do a great job of expressing these facts. You know, it's just simply, you know, here's the actual history, you know, here's what we know, here's what seems to be the case. We can't be absolutely sure that it came from Madagascar, but the only other source that matches, according to what we know about quartz crystal and slight differences, is probably Brazil. And Brazil wasn't exploited for crystal until the Germans started doing it some years later. So, for the time frame, Madagascan quartz, taken to France by the French from a French colony of Madagascar, a colonised island of the French, of Africa. Brought back to France, some of it, big chunk, used by an artist to carve a skull, and so on and so forth, until you get to where it's in the British Museum. What's wrong with that particular factually based story and the arguments, the statements made and the evidence provided by the British Museum and others relating to this article? Because it seems to be a fairly watertight argument, if you ask me.